Basically, I wanted to talk about this because Chinese celebrities are now used as instruments for the CCP's domination of the world.
More so since the 2000s.
Well, not just since the 2000s, but there was a specific point after the creation of Weibo in 2009, and then a political shift in the mid-2010s. And now that there is the controversy over Taiwan's independence, celebrities are basically expected to speak out politically in China, or else their careers are at risk.
So it really reminds me of America.
85. No,
Square
that's worse.
Planned Parenthood.
Here they don't even have to, and they do it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things about this story sound familiar because it's so similar how they're shamed, but I think what's missing is the government mandated censorship, and then the West relies on the self-censorship.
85% of the top 218 celebrities in China post government-supported messages, which is very clearly makes you a mouthpiece. And yes, as it Weibo.
Weibo is their version
Twitter.
of Facebook or Twitter. And there are about like 600 million users on it, 130 million of which follow the official account of China's central television.
And they said that like in a lot of the celebrities, they do shame one another for not posting like one China, like when Nancy Pelosi went there, like celebrities there who weren't posting the message about one China. Basically, one China. They're referencing the combination, like the marriage of them in Taiwan, basically, that they believe that they have ownership of Taiwan, that celebrities that didn't post that message were called out by other celebrities, and that they're saying yes, the mid 2010s is about when politics started to become injected heavily into their messaging, which is funny because that's fairly close to when things got really bad here. I wonder what their Ghostbusters 2016 was. Did they have their own Ghostbusters 2016? I must know.
I don't think we'll ever know because they're not allowed to openly talk about politics there. But I saw that after Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan in August, CCTV posted on Weibo, there's only one China in the world. And then all of the celebrities who reposted that statement were applauded, and the ones who stayed silent were publicly shamed in their media.
You're not allowed to stay silent.
This happens to Western celebrities.
It's just like us here. It's just that we do it ourselves. It's even that makes us worse.
That does make us worse.
We're worse. We're just pathetic here. Like, it's sad.
Now that doesn't make us CCP shills, to be clear.
No,
we're just saying because it's self-imposed censorship and also self-imposed compulsory political statements that we have here, that is worse, because it means that you've been more mentally infected.
But plenty of those people see it as a business decision over there. They said pleasing the state is just like the most effective way to reach a market because of the amount of sentiment falls in line there. So they're just reaching people with that like-minded belief system. The problem is it's a government-mandated belief system, which sucks.
That mid-2010s shift to more political posts on Weibo seems to be connected with the 2014 movement from their State Administration of Press, Publication, Radio, Film, and Television.
And remember, in 2018, they imposed laws in place that actors can't make over a certain amount of money, keeping them in their place.
Yeah, so in 2014, they required all their broadcasting platforms to block what they call tainted artists. And they are called that because they engage in illegal behavior or actions deemed by the government to be problematic, such as drug use, prostitution, tax evasion, extramarital affairs, or political incorrectness. And the last category includes supporting Hong Kong or Taiwan's independence.
So here they would this would be the opposite.
We have our own tainted artists.
Except for it wouldn't be drug use, prostitution. It would be political incorrectness. The rest of that stuff is generally applauded by Hollywood as long as you don't get caught.
Yeah, so just because we have different terms doesn't mean that we don't enforce the same shaming and like ritual. I don't know what you would call it. I mean, I suppose we exalt celebrities for speaking out on political issues. Not us, but like the royal we, as in the West. Celebrities who speak out on the right political issues at the right time are exalted, and if you fail to do that, you are publicly shamed.
Post your black square, or
not
else.
by just media outlets, but also regular people.
Why is so and so staying quiet during this event?
And how many posts have we seen from celebrities that were like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't comment on whatever big event is happening sooner.
I was listening and believing and learning and growing.
I was learning and growing and listening and whatever.
It's
and
always
now,
so performative.
I didn't want to insert myself into a conversation. Like, I feel sad.
Silence is violence.
Like, we're talking about how this is a form of like censorship, but really like the fact that you are trying to not express an opinion before you're able to form a thought is the strange way the West forces you to come out in favor of an issue, right? If you don't make a statement, then it's, what's the saying? Silence is violence, right? You're complicit in whatever the wrong issue is. There is no space to have a different opinion. In some ways, we function exactly the same way as the CCP. I would say that in some ways, we believe that there isn't the same repercussions for celebrities that don't. Like, do you remember the Chinese tennis star who accused a high-ranking party official of sexual assault, and then she like mysteriously disappeared for a little while, and then she like was allowed to start competing again. Was allowed is what I'm saying. She reappeared on the scene and like never really addressed what was happening.
Didn't the dude who created Alibaba say something, then disappeared, and then came back and was like, never mind?
Is he back? I think he's still gone.
I think he's back.
That's after a healthy dose of water torture or something.
And he had to give up all of his like public assets and stuff like that. Like, I think that like we think that that is something that happens in communist China, and it does, but also we have our own versions of it where who was it? Brittany Aldean, Jason Aldean's a country singer's wife, just posted something about
don't have gender affirming surgery if you're under 18.
And his publicist dropped him.
Yep.
Right.
And
like,
then Maren Morris is like, I'm not going to go to the CMAs because I don't feel comfortable standing next to someone who doesn't believe you shouldn't operate on kids under the age of 18 because I'm a psychopath.
Right. We function exactly the same way, except our repercussions are imposed by corporate culture and private entities.
Which is
in
more
a
genius.
way, the CCP allows for more redemption or rehabilitation after faltering than our court of public opinion, which is insanely dystopian. And I think another factor that maybe at least partially exonerates these celebrities in China for what they do to comply with the state is that it seems they're more motivated by money than by personal conviction.
Yeah.
So it says they're
I don't know if that's
in
necessarily
China,
untrue here. I don't know if that's necessarily untrue here.
It's partly true, but some celebrities, you've got to admit, are more ideologically driven than money driven in that respect. Like Tom Cruise is still able to make exorbitant amounts of money without, foregoing the quality of his movies to spread a message. So that's why he's had the success he's had recently.
It would have to be a case-by-case basis here.
It is case by case. But I feel like maybe the Chinese celebrities who toe the party line are more cynical and driven by profit, or at least driven by just mere self-preservation than anything.
Fear.
Yeah. So
the fear here is
they
different.
see pleasing the state as an effective way to reach a market, but not just reach a market, but reach any market, because they will be silenced and effectively erased from the public eye if they don't comply.
The other thing I found the most interesting here is it says that younger celebrities were found to be more likely to post official government messages. I think as we evolve, as we grow, that young people are becoming more and more dependent on the state and more trusting of the state.
What I would argue is that I think probably the same way that a lot of young celebrities now understand in America and the West understand the ecosystem between your own private, your like personal social media accounts and your work in industries like Hollywood or fashion or whatever. The similar phenomenon happens with young people in China. So when China adopted Weibo,
Thank you.
They were able to see that like if I post pro-government messaging, the government supports me. They will open doors for me. I get a boost to my career, right? And so the ecosystem of like I will use my personal platforms to promote ideology that makes me more favorable to whoever is writing the check. Ultimately, in China, a lot of it comes from the CCP. In Hollywood, it comes from sort of the globalist ideal that they promote. I think it's a similar thing. Like, it's not that older celebrities in China wouldn't do that. It's just that they don't use social media the same way that young people do. That's my theory.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how young celebrities from Western countries use their social media, because some of them seem to manage it themselves, and then others seem to have passed it off to management entirely. Billie Eilish seems to have passed off her social media presence to management.
I would, if I was that level of celebrity, I would just get rid of it and not, and that way at least I can blame.
I wouldn't trust anyone else to have it though.
I mean, at that level,
like,
I would make it more. I would make it somebody I could fire if something went wrong. That way, you
And-
can make the post about how you had to fire someone.
Their social media is not, I mean, that's why I understand when young celebrities who are still of this mindset that social media is important and they connect to people that way have Finstas, right? So, like, Zendaya, if you look at her Instagram, I'm sure it's all just like, here's a promotion for my movie. Here's a campaign that I was in for a luxury item. Here's whatever. Like, when she started posting with Tom Holland, when that came out, like, they're selected shots. They're not actually, you know, like, it's much more controlled. If you contrast it with his social media, which is a little bit more similar, I think he is more personally in control. And we also know this because he, like, famously went live on Instagram and, like, showed a promotional thing.
that he wasn't.
That on the back, when he was looking at it on the back, it said, "Do not show."
He's
do not
very
post." And he
he's
turned it
very
to show
famous
everyone.
for like releasing Marvel spoilers. All like they
Wow.
they're like they couldn't shut him up like to get him to
They
stop.
had to, like,
revealing
send
stuff.
someone on press junket with him who would be like,
Don't do that. Say this. Don't say this.
Literal
Yeah.
CCP handler,
so-
but MCU handler.
yes,
I
and it's
wanna-
another
That's
actor, which is
funny.
hilarious.
I want to move then to the discussion about the exportation of culture. Then, right? So
Yeah.
here with a far less homogenous culture. What we export tends to be built from, it's not from the ground up, but ours is more, you could say more organic, or it used to be more organic, whereas those values are more deeply felt through government intervention, and they only push through what the government and what they want to be the rest of the world to see. The same with Korea, right? Like with South Korea is very good at showing you the best facets of their culture,
Yeah.
whereas we don't seem to value that here anymore.
So with South Korea, it lacks that political totalitarianism, but the same focus on image and really patriotism in their popular culture is still just as present.
Which is
And
almost
they-
non-existent here now. And
They look
mean
to their
non-existent.
celebrities as role models, really, and maybe to an extreme that hurts them as people, but it's also something that they willingly walked into. A lot of celebrities in the West seem to accidentally fall into fame and then
Well, look at what happened to all
become
the
train wrecks as a result of it.
the boy bands were all manufactured, and they all ended up being absolute victims of either greedy managers, sexual exploitation, things like that. I do want to point
Yeah.
out that for here, I want to know when the last time something from Hollywood was a truly pro-American product that wasn't Top Gun, but was not either a political, the democracy is under threat, or all of these awful documentaries that get made, or, what was it? When was the last time you saw an actual pro-America movie? I can't think of it.
I can't think of one.
Wasn't there like a pro-military movie that came out somewhat recently?
The best I could say is like, and even that's
I
not
mean,
necessarily,
even if it comes out,
that's not even necessarily pro-America. Pro-military
No,
isn't necessarily the
it's-
same
it's
thing.
not.
I was thinking of the show. I was watching a show again called The Last Ship, which was like this 2014. It's like Eric Dane, and it's like oddly enough, it's a pandemic spreads, and America has to develop the cure for a pandemic, and it is like there is a lot of like kind of cheesy rah-rah. We need America to fix the problem in it that I love because I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. But I don't see a lot of celebrities talk about America in any context other than our democracy that was not actually a democracy because we're a constitutional republic. They never say that, but they say our democracy is under threat. Or it's Bill Clinton speaking to some late night show. Our democracy is under threat. Hillary Clinton, democracy is fragile. It's never about just I love this country the way it is, or I love this country and the values that it instills and the values that it believes, because we can't decide on what the hell that is anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like even if you wanted to make a patriotic comment because you love the way this country looks, like think about how big it is and all of the land. Like if you actually love the land, then you're attacked for that too because of climate scaremongering.
Or colonialism.
Or colonialism.
It really is.
Whatever.
America's greatest, what was once believed to be its greatest asset, which was our diversity, our actual diversity, has become kind of its undoing because it's very easy for people to put through a very unfavorable view of the country, and celebrities don't have the backbone to stand up and say, I still love where I'm from. The best example I can give is like a lot of like the actors on like the show SEAL Team. You can tell which ones are are somewhat patriotic because they'll post stuff on Veterans Day, or they'll post stuff on President's Day, or they'll post stuff on the 4th of July that's not like an attack on the country, right? So, but you have to go look for that. Like, that's not a general message from the industry. That's individuals that just happen to hold those beliefs, but still work in an industry that doesn't support the country.
I think only culturally, the West looks to celebrities to, I guess, we look to celebrities as a place to displace our anger and dysfunction and chaos onto somebody else.
It's easy to do.
And we sort of enjoy the train wreck story arc for celebrities, or the deflowering of sorts of like a Britney Spears figure or a Miley Cyrus. And when you contrast that with how Asian cultures, specifically South Korea and their idols, how they relate to their celebrity class, it could not be more starkly different. They look to celebrities to be the model of what every citizen should do. Like BTS, for example, there's a reason that there was a huge controversy over whether or not they should serve their military in South Korea, because they're not seen as fundamentally like Hollywood is sort of its own nation. If you're a celebrity in another country, though, you are not seen as fundamentally separated from your nationality. You represent your nation in that country. But weird. If you're a celebrity here, you only represent Hollywood.
I think South Korea uses the idols to create like the highest ideal, right? They're young, they're beautiful, they're talented, they're upbeat, like they're all smiling, they're cool, whatever. And with Hollywood, there are times that you get to hear like with people come out of like sort of the Disney Channel machine that they are expected to be happy and they're expected to perform a certain way. But ultimately, like America has this weird turn in culture where no one is allowed to be successful without failure or injury, right? So like we don't want our celebrities to succeed, and I don't personally feel this way, but like I think representationally of culture, if a celebrity is just beautiful and successful and talented and has good morals, like there has to be something wrong with them. Like we want our Disney Channel stars to fall off the deep end because actually things are corrupt, and they, you know, it shows that like ultimately, even though they have all this money and power, that they are not better than us. And we don't like to have idealist pictures because I don't think we like to hold standards for what is supposed to be a good way to conduct yourself, right?
Maybe that's because like that our obsession with meritocracy.
Right. And that way we can always say like, well, everyone gets to live how they want to and everyone's values are meaningful and you can do whatever. Like, look, everyone is sort of messed up. And I think holding ourselves to a high standard, a standard of excellence has become sort of a threat to how some people view their existence in the country.
It's because we don't aspire anymore. We just we go for envy rather than aspiration.
Right.
We don't want to aspire to do as well as that person. We want to bring them. We don't want to raise ourselves up to their level. We want to bring them down to our level.
Right. And what makes you feel better if you're envious of someone, a celebrity who's got everything, than to see them get divorced or to see them get cheated? Like these horrible things that I actually feel like we shouldn't wish upon people. I think in some ways, like China and South Korea control the narratives there to prevent it from being like
the same stuff probably happens. You just never hear about it from
Sure,
them.
of course. I believe it completely.
Also, I want to I fall into that category. I get annoyed when I see a bunch of female celebrities flaunting sexuality because that doesn't inherently bother me. What bothers me is 20 years later when they're like, I felt exploited and this, and that, because nobody wants to take responsibility for their own actions. So even I fall into that category of liking to see them taken down a peg when that happens later. Is that a personal flaw of mine? Probably a little bit, but I hate the hypocrisy of it.
Right, and because especially in Korea, China is different because the communist regime is so intense, but like especially with Korea, because they are ultimately a nationalist culture, they believe in Korean excellence, they believe in a united national front. They strive to keep their standards. Like if these are the best known Korean people in the world, the idols, right? We want them to be excellent. We want to support them. We want to celebrate them. We want them to have a life at the most ideal standard of Korean culture, right? And in America, we are happy to be like, yeah, we are cool if you guys all watch our celebrities like shave their heads a la Britney Spears or have some kind of demise. Like in some ways we are like, no, it's good for people to
proud
see,
of our
quote unquote
messiness.
flaws.
Think of like
Right, in a way that I actually don't think is helpful. I think it's good to have a realistic pictures of like, do you remember the old magazine layouts that are like, celebrities are just like us. They take out the
they
garbage.
still have those things.
Right.
That say, they're going to get like coffee and says celebrities. They're just like us. I'm
yeah.
like, no, they're not.
I think that's hilarious and fine, like whatever. But ultimately, like we should celebrate. I would like it if we celebrated celebrities that had strong marriages or who took their faith seriously or who,
They're not
took
celebrated.
time away from
Alexa
work
Panavega.
to be with their kids. Like I think those are good values that we should support in culture, right? And instead, it's like we can't pass judgment on anyone, so anything can go.
Here's the thing. Everything can be used against you, right? So they take time away to be with their kids. Well, why did the wife have to take time off work when the husband? They can literally make it about anything.
All scorekeeping.
And Americans fall victim. We fall victim to it every single time. Olivia Wilde, a man wouldn't be judged for having to bring his daughter to work on the movie set with her. Like you can make it about anything, and we fall into the trap. Every single time.
I'm not judging Olivia Wilde for bringing her daughter to the movie set. I'm judging her for seemingly blowing up her family life, which again, I don't know anything about her marriage with.
I'm just saying that we as a culture find a way to make every topic divisive. There is no universal truth or universal value system here because whether it's Marxist beliefs, feminism, all of these things have eroded a universally held belief so far that everything is divisive if you look at it hard enough.
I get what you're saying, but I sort of disagree. I think part of it is that like we don't want to say these are our values as Americans because it would mean there is a hierarchy and it would mean that certain cultural values are at the bottom and some are at the top. And that is antithetical to the way people want to view the ideas of equality and freedom in America. They want to say everyone's culture and in some way is okay and good. And I just don't think that's true.
Well, even there are perspectives to this that we can't have because we're not from Korea and we're not from China. And I'm sure that if we heard from Korean or Chinese people, that they would point out spiritual emptiness, pockets of spiritual emptiness in their own culture and the messiness in their own culture. But it seems that their cultures uphold at least the appearance of a unified front and the preservation of at least that appearance through their celebrity culture and their popular culture and the output of that makes them superior at exporting it to the rest of the world. While we, as like the top dogs right now, are falling behind in that respect.
Look, I don't think that America's top dog. Not really.
Well, we are right now, but not for long. That's what I'm saying.
Not for very long. I think that a shared, like, what are we exporting? What the hell are we exporting?
I mean,
what?
not Marvel movies anymore.
We're exporting values that like other cultures are like, oh, that's dangerous, and we don't want that here. Like that's the only thing we have to offer.
So what we're exporting is diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is unique to us here, oddly enough, because we are a naturally diverse nation, whereas other countries are far more either religiously clamped down or homogenous in their population, which is
doesn't resonate
with them. So we won't be exporting our values, which goes against the idea of globalist beliefs. It's why Disney is so fascinating that they can lose all this money now making movies the way that they are, and they would love to have the Chinese money. And then there's people like me who is like, look, I don't want them to like. I prefer these companies did less business in China if at all possible. But at the same time, like I also think that it's ridiculous that we expect other countries to uphold our beliefs, right? I don't expect that to. I don't fall in line with Chinese with the beliefs of China. I don't fall in line with the beliefs of, I guess, probably more China than the other ones, right? Like, I don't know what necessarily the strongly held beliefs of India or Korea are, but
you don't know because they don't force it down your throat.
Yeah.
That's why you don't
so,
know what
So,
they
like,
are.
I would ask, what the hell are we exporting? Because I don't think we're exporting anything, really. I think we're exporting buzzwords and slogans.
We're exporting gay kisses in kids' movies. I don't know.
That's about it, and that's what America's kind of at, where we're at as far as
it's
messaging
such a hill
right
to
now.
die on.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
And America's number one export used to be culture, right? But it's not anymore. Like, think back to, like, I think of all the stories of innovation and, like, just the way America was making these flagship products like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pizza Hut,
Technically,
like,
you could
all of
still
that
say it's
stuff that
true
was
with
founded in
tech.
America. Tech to a certain degree, but not really. Not the same way that we had these, like, cultural brands that now still sell everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, the guy who had a McDonald's franchise in Russia, really put up a fight to not have to give up the McDonald's, because, like, that is an American export, right?
Yeah.
And we don't have those things anymore because we bred a culture that was, like, against being proud to be American. Like, I don't know. I mean, it happens, I'm sure, but I don't really hear about other cultures, other celebrities from Italy or Korea or China being like, if this person wins the election, I'm moving to Canada, right? That only happens in America.
Dude, it's
no
really
one in
funny.
Canada is like, if Justin Trudeau gets elected, I'm leaving for America. Like, we are the only people who want to jump ship. Like, we think somewhere else is better, when really, like, we have it so much better than other countries in the world, and we take it for granted.
It's been really funny watching American celebrities react to the election of the Italian prime minister. They're like the far right.
But you know what? I just wrote about this for timcast.com. I highly recommend you check that out. Only the international media refers to her as far right.
Yeah.
Oh, the Italian media refers to her as center right.
It was the Hollywood Reporter where I read this article. They called her far right, and then they include the speech where she's like, why is everyone so upset with the family?
People are used to being able to filter not just the politics, but also the entertainment of other countries through an American lens.
Yep.
And the days where that's possible are coming to a close.
I'm over it. I'm over it in a lot of ways. I would love to see America become a more united front. I don't think it's possible. I know that I come off black-pilled.
Well, I wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't count on it anytime soon. I would say the best thing you can hope for is to find within yourself the values you hold that you believe to be extremely important. Hold on to them and look for media that espouses those values and kind of go from there.
At the very least, media that doesn't outwardly attack.
That's what okay. Listen, I watched. I found more than a few things this year that have been fairly new that were not in any way like they weren't great, but like that's the best. Maybe it's all just a weird Hollywood ploy to like lower everyone's expectations, right? Where like now everything you're watching 10 years ago would have been like a made for TV movie that would have been in a bargain bin at Walmart, and now you're just like you're so like beaten down. You're like, I love this movie, but really it was garbage. You're just so used to the crap that you'll take whatever you can get. So maybe it's all just been a ploy for you to just please, sir, I'd like some more, and take it all. And it's like I said, what was it? It was called All the Old Knives, which by all accounts, but for all intents and purposes, was a average to maybe slightly above average espionage movie, which will probably be one of the better movies I've seen this year because everything else was so bad.
Yeah. I think part of it is like give up on Hollywood. Don't go to this place that just generates trash.
And we're hypocrites because we talk about it and we tacitly support it by watching this stuff.
What I was going to say is like don't go to Hollywood, look for alternative platforms. And you guys in a lot of ways are an alternative way to look for media, right? Instead of going to Hollywood to hear about what they say about celebrities, like come to you guys.
Fair enough. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think we
like-
tacitly support anything simply by watching it.
I think you have to be aware of things, right? That would be like saying like I tacitly support CNN because occasionally I read their coverage to see how they're framing.
I guess
and
a-
that does fund their website. So
Like,
it's
a
like,
lot of the.
but I need to
that's
know what they're
unavoidable.
saying. I also think that like there are lots of alternative ways to get entertainment that can be reflective of your values. I'm gonna sound super boomer right now and say like you guys should consider going
internet.
to no, you guys should consider leaving the internet and going to like actual Broadway productions or theaters in your local towns, or going to, you know, all kinds of things. There are lots of alternative viewpoints out there that don't get the same kind of funding and coverage, and they just take a little bit
because
longer to find.
it requires getting off of your ass.
Honestly,
And like it's the same thing as like you could go to your local farmer's market and buy your vegetables, right? But it takes organization. You can't just stop there whenever. It's one day a week. Or you go to the grocery store. And there's a reason to do each one. But when you can, if you can support someone local who has more direct access to food, that's a good thing to do. It's the same thing with art and entertainment. If you can find people who are not part of this network that is generating the same thought, then you should try and support them.
there's infinitely more creativity on social media now there than like I am constantly surprised by how funny a lot of creators are with very minimal resources, or just it's just humor that like you don't
Like
know,
a cheetah hand puppet.
like a cheetah hand puppet, or I
That
was,
cheetah pan hand puppet is not the very first guest on Pop Culture Crisis I will personally write.
there was a video the other day where like it's stupid stuff where somebody's like, who parked their Toyota in the handicap parking spot, and a guy goes, it was me. He's like at a bench press, and he goes out there and it's a toy Yoda in a parking, and I laughed for like a minute because it's stupid. I would rather watch that than the garbage that Hollywood is pointing out, or the like the other one's like a guy's like, it's like where you put your hand over the nozzle of a hose, and he's like doing this, and it says 3 a.m. and you just went to the bathroom. It's stupid, but it's a hell of a lot more creative than anything that these loser writers
mean,
in Hollywood are coming out with. It's just
But
different
then you
content.
risk like Philistinism,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'm not
that's
saying
where we're going.
I'm not saying that's the only entertainment you watch. I'm just saying that that stuff tends to be more honest than a lot of the stuff that comes out.
yeah. At least it's not pretending to be something it's not.
Yes, it's not. The guy's
I
like, I
understand
thought
why
this,
you'd appreciate that.
I thought this was funny, so I did this. That I can appreciate that more because I don't expect that the guy who made that video is telling me some secret message about what that actually means.
There's no subliminal
Yeah.
messaging involved, or
Though there probably will be college classes one day that will say the sexism of TikTok videos.
there already are.
Probably. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.